Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael, or as the grandkids call me, Rue. Thanks for being on the show today. It's Monday morning, sometime in January. I think it's a Monday. I know it's a Monday because I was with some friends on Sunday, so that's why I keep up with my days. I'm firing my crew. They didn't clean my glasses. They didn't fill up my water bottle. My desk is a mess, and so. Wait, I am the crew. So there you go. That means I've been relinquished or sacked, as they say, to just storyteller and painter. So glad you're on the show. But I think I've almost got my glasses clean. Let's see. I can see it. Hey, look, here's the desk. Let me show you the desk this morning. This is the rooster you saw me paint. Very loose, very fast. It was a time-lapse painting, but honestly, it only took me about 3 minutes to do this last night. Just really quick. Is it a great painting? No, that's not the point. Sometimes when you play and you just want to see colors run together, you literally just do that. And so let me go back to my headshot here and say hello. A headshot. You ever have a headshot? Did you ever have to do a film thing where you were a headshot? I did one headshot one time that my wife had a model talent casting agency, and she said, you got to have a headshot. So let's go get this down because people want you back in the days before you did everything digital. You had to have an 8x10 headshot, had your name. Gee, it's on the wall over there somewhere. I'll have to go get it in a minute. It's so I did one with an aviator jacket and a scarf, and then I did one, with just I don't know, but you send it out for movie, and so I still call it a headshot. It's the headshot. This is the headshot right here. So this is a headshot, desk shot, so I can keep up with it on my. Because I don't have a camera crew here. So on my switcher, let me say hello to some of you, and let me just roll through this thing. Good morning, Donacell Barton. Glad you're on the show. Thank you so much. Sandy Rowe, thank you for being here. Sally Ann Smith and Bob from the chipper cornfields of Iowa. They're chipper today. They're just chipper. I like walking through a cornfield because you can hear everything, all those ears. Boom, I'll be here all week. Randall Taylor Craven, that's funny though. I love your adjectives and keep them coming, man. We all look forward to it. Lori Stanley Henderson Handelmeyer, Harvard. In Harvard, Hampshire, and something else, hangings hardly happen. I think that was from an old musical on something. Hello, Dolly? No, it wasn't Hello, Dolly, but I don't know what it was. Jackie Wallace, hello to you. Alice Durham, Donna Bullman, thank you for being on the show. Shanlin Martinez, Terry Tardy, good morning to you. It is so early out there in Oregon. And Annette Henslin says, Roo doggy, let's paint. That reminds me of, who says, wee doggies? Jed Clampett. Jed Clampett said, wee doggies. I'm going to have a long talk with that boy. Good morning, Ron Dasher. Ron Dasher's a good friend of mine. Hey, Ron's back on the show this morning. He's probably grinding coffee in that little red coffee grinder. I deleted the photos off of my desktop, Ron, of your coffee grinder, because I didn't want to be I didn't want to covet. That's it. Yeah, I didn't want to break that commandment. So anyway, hey everyone. Karen Bender says, hey everyone, and that's not a hyperbole. She means hello to everyone. Heather, thank you for being on the show. Heather Kuhlman, Pauline Bold, Renee Cummings. Renee, you got a good sense of humor, and I like your art. It's funny. Keep it up. Sharon Resky, good morning from Wisconsin, where the cows are happy. Cockadoodle Doo Roo from Beth, Ruth Ann Godey, Dorothy, Michelle, Donna Buckley, Carol Todd. It's sunny and bright in southeast Missouri. Kim Sheets says, I can see you, but I can't hear you. Well, she's got a work meeting in progress. Just go off. Here's how to get attention. If you just unmute me for a second, when someone's right in the middle of making a big point in your work meeting, then I will yell out, what's the burning issue? Which is one of the rules. If you're in a meeting or if you're going through one of these things like I do here and I'm painting and you can't figure out what I'm doing in about 90 seconds, you should have the right in all the world to stand up and go, what's the burning issue? Would you just get to the point? Okay, well, I'm saying hi. Lee Packus, good morning to you. Jacqueline Goodrich, Pat, Norman Dale, thank you. June Jones. All you Florida people are piling in here. There's Central Florida. There's Northeast Florida. Then there's useless Florida. No, it's Eustis, isn't it? Yes, that's what it is. But I know the mosquitoes. I'll have to remember that, mosquitoes. Skeeter. I hadn't seen Skeeter this morning, but Jim and Jason, your own Case Spencer, good morning to you. Audrey Ginter, paint the door blue. Okay, I'm just going to keep saying it till we see a photograph of a blue door at your house. French blue. And Westra, thank you for being on the show. It is Martin Luther King Day. Man, what a great orator. What a great speaker. Isn't that cool? Yeah, that guy could flat out. He was a man of conviction and also heart. I love that. Cecilia, it's Butterick. Is it Butterick Morak? Man, that is, if I had to have that name in high school, I'd been in big trouble. But I'm glad you're here on the show. Denise, Virginia Man, Julie Walden, all these people, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm going to skip down through this and get started on some painting. I'll come back. I try to go about a half hour after the show. I try to go back through another cup of tea and just hit any questions or or answer something if you have it. So the painting I did this morning in the first video was very loose. It's right here on the desk. Let me show it to you. Here it comes right here. Wow, a lot of you people are jumping on this morning. And so thank you, Brenda Dow. I see you here. Here we go. Here is a name that I haven't seen. Yes, I have. Sue, have I seen you before? Pizzello, thank you for being on here. And Holly Snyder and K.N. Sparks, Judy Doyle. Okay. Audrey says she's going to have to wait until it warms up. It's too cold in Minnesota to paint. Yes. If you went out to paint today in Minnesota, get ready now, you'd have to put on 2 coats. Get it? Boom. I love it when a pun. You can't waste a good pun, and you set me up so perfectly for that. All right, so here's what we're going to do today. First thing you're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to a new brush. That's right. Here we go. Let me get to the desk here. Here's a new brush. It's coming at you right now. Some people call it a hake. Hake. Some of you may have this brush in your arsenal. Every now and then you have to just pull in a new brush. You know about my brushes, right? Here they are. This is really shows you that I'm a hoarder. Oh my gosh, it's just really sad. But look at some of these brushes I have here. I have big brushes, little brushes, short brushes. That's a good poem. In between brushes, here's some brushes that are these are squirrel tail brushes. I've painted with these subs before. It's like painting with a short-handled mop. These are mostly bamboo and just interlock nylon watercolor brushes in this jar. So while I was out and about over the weekend, I picked up this brush, picked it up from Cheap Joe's. I went by their store Saturday morning, just had to go by there. This is called a hake brush, or some people say hockey brush. If you put an R in front of this, it wouldn't be rucky, it'd be rake. So I call it a hake, but I'm not from where this brush was created anyway. But I'll tell you, you might enjoy the brush. Let me move this just for a second. Take a look. There's the brush in its entirety. It's a simple wood handle, and it's been split. And then it just has, this is goat hair. And I'm going to tell you something. It stinks. Those of you who raise chickens and goats and live on farms, you know exactly what this brush smells like. Last night I was just painting a little bit with this brush. In a couple of minutes I went, I think my painting water has soured. So I went, oh no, that's what it is. So I wouldn't want to use this as a shaving brush. There is folks who make this hake out of boar's hair, okay, like shaving brushes or like dartboards. But this is called a hake. My daughter paints with one of these all the time. I got it to show you that if you really want to move, those of you who paint landscapes, if you really want to move a lot of water and wet paper down, this is a great brush for that. And it's very, very inexpensive, $3.90 or $3.59 or something like that. It is not a very expensive brush at all. They come in all sizes. I bought the small one because I don't see myself doing 4 by 5 foot paintings anytime soon. But I do want to show you something and just using it. Let me cut this painting off. This is the painting I did last night as a time lapse. Time to cut a rug. And look at this is what I love about watercolor. Look here. And this was all done with the hake right here. See this? I had tape on here, and I literally, if you saw the video, I literally just went da-da-da-da-da-da, and I'm done. I just back off, put the brush down, and back away from the easel. This is a watercolor block. I'm separating it here with this little tool. You can use, yes, your credit card, your pocket knife, or a palette knife, but I'm just going to put this in here I think this is piece Kilimanjaro. When I turn it upside down, I'll tell you for sure. There it is right there. 140 pound. Yes, Kilimanjaro paper. So here I'll just stay with a piece of that. There's a piece there. I'm going to tilt this up on I could go get an easel and I could clamp it in and I could adjust everything and do all. I could do all that. And sometimes at home, if you have some hours and you've set aside a full day for painting, you should do that, okay? But at the same time, what I think you should do is maybe just go on the fly sometimes. OTF, on the fly. Just grab something. Like I use an anvil. It's about almost 3 inches tall, 2.5 inches tall. Just put it there. It's going to sit there for a little bit. I don't know what I'm listening to this morning. I hear the music building up. What is that? I just hit play. It's Fanfare the Common Man. Ah, Aaron Copeland. Okay, all right, so here we go. Now, what I've done is take a look at this. This is what I normally paint out of. You know that. Let me focus this camera one time here. All right, this is what I normally paint out of, my American Journey paints. But just because the other day I was doing some Charles Reed type stuff, just real loose, I put some of the paint down in this pan. And I haven't cleaned it out. I've just let it sort of be messy. And so it's also a little easier to get a big brush. I didn't want to stick this big brush down in here and contaminate my colors. Does that make sense? So this for me is my rooster painting palette. If you're a cat painter, a dog painter, goat painter, whatever you are, you want to keep your paints as pristine as possible. Wash your brushes out before you put it in the next color. All right. In this case, I just want to kind of get messy. My daughter paints in a very messy palette, and I love to see that. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to reach in here and I'm going to show you how this thing works. I'm going to take this brush, wet it, touch it a little bit like this. This is good music to paint to. I'll just paint to this. And now I'm just going to wet the paper like this. Just drifting some water all over this piece of paper. You don't see me do this very often. Just give it a good little, I'm not drenching it. I'm not soaking it, but I'm leaving this. This is why a block is good. It's glued down on the edges. So there it is right there. There's just some water. Now I'm going to go get a little bit of, just a little bit of yellow. Maybe this is lemon yellow. This is some gamboge. And I'm just going to kind of come down through the middle of this like this. You see that? Oh yeah, there you go. And look, it's just sort of running a little bit because I've got a little bit of an angle here. So it's just sort of coming downhill. All right, see it? You see it run? That's kind of cool, huh? All right, now I'm going to come in. I'm going to get a little bit of ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of music might be too loud now. Last time I heard this music, I dropped the piano. That's a true story. North Florida, University of North Florida contacted me way back in the 90s and said, hey, we're raising money for a classical music scholarship. Could you help us with an idea? And so I said, you bet. So I went to a music store and asked the guy if he had any old pianos. He said, come with me. He takes me out back and he finds all these old pianos. Seriously. I mean, they're just, it's like a graveyard pianos. He goes, this one fell out of the truck and this one was an old one these people traded in. The church had this one. It didn't make sound anymore. And so I said, yeah, I want a piano. He said, take your pick. So I picked out an old piano. We loaded it in the truck. Heavy. Took it home, took it apart, took the soundboard out. While I was there, I got like a 5-gallon bucket full of just keys and springs and little hammers and all this. I mean, and all these other parts. And so I broke the soundboard out because it weighs about 700 pounds. And then I put all those keys down inside there and I made saw cuts through the piano. And then I got a crane and I hired a crane and I brought a crane out and I pulled the piano up to 105 feet, played Fanfare the Common Man, and then dropped the piano and it blew it up on impact. All right, so there you go. So you can see the wrinkles coming in this a little bit. And this lady came and she said, you wasted a good piano. I said, ma'am, no, I didn't. But it was picked up by Tampa, Jacksonville News. All these people picked it up around Florida, and they posted a painting excuse me, the first page of the paper said Brahms Away, which it wasn't the right classical song, but it was funny. And it called attention to the classical music department needs money. And so, all right, so I got to show you something else. I'm throwing you a curveball this morning. A new brush called a hake, H-A-K-E, or a hockey, depending on what part of the country you're from, H-A-K-E. I just wet the paper and I put a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue in there, just some kind of fun blue. Look at that, just sweeping it in a little bit, and then a little bit down here too. What is he possibly going to do with this? Now, right now would be the time for me to go get a cup of tea and then let this dry for a while. So I'll see you all in about 15 minutes. No. Do you remember I've been telling you about this commercial I've been shooting for these commercials I've been shooting for this tool company? It's called Works. This is one of the tools right here. It's called Maker X. And so they're not paying me to do this. They just sent me the tool though. So as a full disclosure, this tool shows up at my house and said, hey, we want you to shoot some commercials for it. This is the actual battery right here. It's a Works, W-O-R-I-X. This is the Maker X brain. This is the little power box. Clip it onto a battery. And then this thing has all these little tools that actually attach to it. There's a little sprayer and a little mini heat gun and a cutoff and a rotary tool and a soldering iron, which is a wood burner, which is pretty remarkable. And they all just plug in like this. This is so cool. And so I feel really honored to shoot this commercial for them. And I've done 5 videos already. So here's the thing. Look at this. This is a little heat gun. So I soldered some wires, but I just needed this to dry a little bit. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm just going to dry this right across here. So this is like, I could use a hair dryer, but when you have hair like this, you don't have a hair dryer. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm just drying a little bit of this right here. I want to show you something. I'm not going to finish this out. All right, that ought to do it. Okay, so now I'm ready to go. Cool use of that tool, huh? All right, so I'm going to take my same brush. I'm going to go in and I'm going to get a little bit of this blue, this green, this little bit of color here. I just need a mountain in the far off distance. I just need something that looks like a mountain way out there somewhere. So I think that might do it right there. I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to paint a mountain just way back there like this. I'm just going to let the edges be rough. Come in. See, I'm not being careful at all. Look at that. I just painted a mountain. Oh my gosh. And now you see what happened where these colors were blending together because my paper was wet up here. Now it's not doing that simply because, well, let me get my camera up here so you can see it. It's not doing that because I dried it. And so now this paper is gripping it. This is 140-pound paper. A little bit of green in there, but mostly these are just mountains. Okay, so now I've got this. And so now you realize there's a sky. There's maybe some sunlight coming in. And there's this mountain that's a little too round for me and right in the center. So I'm going to put a little piece over there like that. So I have this landscape coming in. And so what I could do next is I come in and I could get some land that's coming out. So maybe some, and I'm just kind of making this up as I go. You know, I hadn't thought about this until I got the brush yesterday or Saturday. So I'm going to put some land in here. So there's a little bit of Payne's Gray over here. Maybe put some ultramarine blue with that too, just to give it a little bit of that same look. It's still in the distance a little bit. Ooh, look at that. All right, so now I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to kind of come in here and put a little outcropping of land right here. Needs that to be a little bit brighter. So there it is right there. Got a little too much red in that. So I'm going to come back and kill some of that red. A little piece of land right there that comes in. So now, and so you understand what I'm doing with one brush. I'm using a hack brush. If you don't have a hack, you can use a flat. 1-inch flat brush would work well for that. But I just wanted to show you something new this morning. Just take a few minutes and say, ooh, add a brush, add an inexpensive brush to your arsenal sometimes if you want to do a wash or if you want to go outside and paint landscapes. I don't paint landscapes. I'm just playing as I go here. Like for me now, what I'd want to do is I'd want to come in and probably, I probably should do a little shadow of the mountain just coming out here. And I should probably do a little shadow of the land in the water here like this. Then I could come in, I could get some of this green and mix it up just with putzing around, and I could come in and I could put in a tree here. And I'm just doing, now you understand when you remember seeing Bob Ross, he'd just be going like crunch, crunch, crunch. Well, you kind of get a feel for it right now. I'm just doing this like this. I'm not trying to draw a tree, and I didn't even sketch this. I'm just kind of crunching this in here, and I'm getting it a little more like that. And so I put a little tree there, and I might just put a little shrubbery over here too. Shrubbery. All right, so you see where we're going with this brush. Anyway, you keep letting it dry. You keep working on it. Then we'll go in, and in a minute, what I'd probably do to finish this is I'd spend an hour or two doing this. I'd probably come in with some darker colors, and maybe even a little more dark in Payne's gray. Look, why is that not picking that up? I bet I got some dark now, by dingy dangies, don't you know? We doggies, Jethro would say. All right, so, and then, so I could come in and finish this whole painting off, maybe a little more water over here, maybe a little bit of brush in the foreground. All right, I'm not going to finish, but what I'd do then is I'd come in with a smaller brush and pick up some brown, and I'd put some tree lines in. Just have some fun with this thing if I was outside. All right. Anyway, I just want you to see the brush. There's mountain range. I dried that though, so I didn't want that mountain to keep running down. I wanted it to stand out a little bit, so I could come in, and if I wanted it to stand out more, I could come in here and just pick up a little bit more blue in behind here. Now I'm working with a drier paper, but I'm still working with the same brush. I'm punching it like this. I can hit it like this, curled up, punch in some of my limbs on the trees. It's pretty handy, okay? Gives you an idea. Okay, crude, but you get the idea. Those of you who are landscape painters might love that. All right, I'll throw that out of the way. I'm going to move this. Just every now and then I want to introduce a new product to you. I call it hake, not hockey, but you can call it whatever you want. You might want to look it up in your Funkin' Wagnalls and go from there. All right, and this is a cool tool, by the way. And I'm not selling this, but Works does. It's mine, and it's called the Maker X. You might want to look it up online. In fact, my commercials aren't out yet. I've sent them to them, and they're reviewing everything. And I've just done some fun stuff with it. But this is the heat gun. There's a soldering iron. Really cool, though, huh? And, you know, I do, like, my grandson and I were building a rocket launcher. And so I soldered these little leads, and then I wanted to do the little shrink insulator on there, and I can use this for that. But twice I've used it for watercolor. 3 times I've used it for watercolor now, and I really like it. So it's called Maker X. All right. Hey, all right, new brush. Was that fun? Let me just show you here. Let me see what people are saying. Little happy tree, Carol Todd says. I was having trouble. Yep. Me and Bob Ross. There you go, man. I think it might be a combo kit. Yes, it is a combo kit, but it comes with 3 or 4 tools in the beginning, but you can add other tools as you go in if you want more information on that. Just Google Works, W-R-X. And the Maker X tool is available for purchase now. Yeah, it's already out there. I'm doing their things. It's called, I wrote a thing for them called Out of the Box and Into the Shop, or Out of the Box and Onto Your Workbench, or Out of the Box and Into the Yard. That's the thing that I wrote for them years ago, and that's what I do for Works Tools. By God's grace, the fact that I'm a maker and a tool person, this stuff shows up on my doorstep, and I jump on it, I open it up, I shoot everything, and I tell stories about it. So I know it's going to be hard for you to believe that I tell stories about it, right? All right. So I got to change the music because I don't think I can paint to this anymore. We lost the fanfare of the common man. So here we go. Let's go into something else here for me this morning, and then I'm going to jump on something else for you. I want to show you hot and cold paper together, and see if we can jump on a little. That might be a little slow too. Here we go. I purchased this paper just to have for this demonstration. I wanted you to see. I get probably 5, 6, 7 emails a week when someone who's either missed it during the show, or you say, "What is hot press paper?" So I'm going to show you what hot press paper is to me, okay, and what it is in real life, and I'm going to compare it with a painting done with hot and cold press. All right, so here we go. Let's see, any other questions? Use my brushes. Yes, by the way, Kathy, this is a great brush. Potters use this brush all the time. Even acrylic people use this brush, but this brush is used to put glazes on pottery all the time. That's a great brush for that. And they make them all the way up to like 2.5 inches wide, maybe more. But I'm just going to tell you, out of the box, it smells like a wet goat. It's been out in the rain. Just Google it. You can get it at Lowe's. You can get it at Amazon. You can order it directly from Works. You know what's a fun thing? If you call Works, I might answer the phone. You go. If you get in the rotary system, I think I've done probably 300 audio dips for them, voiceover. So I've been with Works Tools. I've known them for many years. A great company. One of their main offices is here in Charlotte. And all right, here we go. So what I just opened up was this. I want to show you this paper. So if you're taking notes, jump ahead with me. Here it is. This is Fabriano. I just painted on Kilimanjaro. Everything ends in an O on my show. Fabriano is good paper. This is 25% cotton, 25% algodon, and 25% wool. And so I have no idea what all that is, but I know this. Hot press, the cotton is not as important, but this is hot press, okay? When you're ironing a shirt, people, a hot iron presses things really smooth and it makes them sort of glassy and slick. So think of that. People say, oh, I love hot press. That means, well, they must love their colors to go flying. That's hot press. Fabriano. Look, the paper below this is Fabriano cold press. It's 25% cotton also, but it is cold press. So I'm going to open it up, pull out a piece. These are pads, not blocks. Put this back. I've got a little box over here that I keep my paper in so the edges of it don't get all, I think the southern word is boogered up, okay? All right. Well, you silly man, you didn't even take a piece out of this one. All right. How can I do a comparison if I didn't rip out a sheet? Okay, there it is right there. All right. All right. They're both the same white, but this one looks a little different because it feels like it's got a rough undulations in it. It's got a little bit of texture. Hear that? Hear that? Listen one more time. Listen. That's a rough. This one is. Hear that? A little smoother. Okay. I know that's hard to detect, but here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to lay this piece over this piece. So working on my left, I don't know if you're looking right or left, where my watch is, that's cold paper. On my right is hot paper. I'm going to try to do 2 roosters right here, and I'm going to paint them at the same time. I've never done this before. This ought to be fun. I'm going to paint them at the same time. I'm going to use a fountain pen for both. That way we know the fountain pen bleeds. So these, and I'm going to use the same paint. And watch what happens, okay? Hot press, cold press, okay? Okay, cold, hot. All right, here we go. Here's my rooster right here. All right, so I'm going to just draw his beak, his wattle, his comb, a couple tail feathers, have his foot coming down like this. This is kind of the rooster that this is not kind of like the rooster. This is the rooster that I sign my books with. If you buy a book from me, Roo, hey Roo, what's a wheelbarrow? I sign an original in the front page that looks just about like that right there, okay? So here's the next guy. So I've done a few of these. In fact, one of the crazy days of my life was when my book arrived and I realized that I had sold, and I'm blessed, 400 copies on that day. I went, oh my gosh, I got to draw 400 roosters in the front of all those books because I didn't print it in there. I literally signed it in there. So, so when you don't get your book for a little time, you'll go, I know what that clown is doing. He's signing the books. All right. Now I have a few, by the way. They're available. What a great time for a Roodoodles commercial there. I just did it. Okay, so there we go. There's the two roos side by side. Let me move this over, give myself a little more space. I think you can see them both pretty well. Hot press, cold press. This will be fun. I just signed on. I thought I was going to see rooster paintings. Well, no, you wouldn't do that. Okay, here we go. Thought I was doing a tool commercial, right, Beverly? All right. So this is it. I'm going to use a number. That's a big brush. Shoot, I'm going to use it. This is a number 10 American Journey nylon brush. You'd think I'd be using a bamboo brush, but I'm not. I'm going to wet these paints just a little bit over here. I don't want any water to go on the paper yet, okay? So I'm going to take my paint over here. I'm just spraying it with a misting bottle. So I'm just doing this over here out of the way because I don't want any water to get on the paper. I want them to be totally dry when I start this. Okay, so I just sprayed my paint a little bit. I just knocked something else to the floor. Okay, here we go. Hot paper, cold paper. Oh yeah, see, I've already written it on there. All right, so I'm going to take my red, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to jump in and do quick little paintings right here like this. All right, love that, huh? Now here it is on the red. Just take a look, or on the hot press, okay? And look, what's happening already is this one's gripping my brush. It's holding back the flow of paint a little bit. This one's not. As a matter of fact, if I just touch it and don't hold on, it takes off. Now I'm just going to put a little slice in here. I'm going to put a little slice in there. Okay? Can you notice the difference already? You probably can't from where you sit through a screen, but the pigment got caught in the cold press and it's a little more intense. Over here, it slid faster and you see a little less paint. And I'm trying to keep the same amount of paint in each brush. So right now I'm going to go in with a little bit of gamboge. And I'm just going to touch in his beak and then come down off his head like this. And I'm going to go clean brush again. Gamboge here. And I've tried to touch the red in about the same way. Take a look. This one ran a little bit. This one's continuing to run. So the surface is letting your watercolor pigment spread out a little farther, almost like you've wet this paper first before it does here. But it's mixing really well, but it's going to give you a different dry line too. So you have to decide what it is you like. And you may love them both. So what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat the tails a little bit with some of this blue. Yeah, now that I've dropped a piece on both, there it is right there. I'll just equal them up. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to grab some blue, a good wet brush, and I'm just going to come in and start pounding a little bit of the tail feathers like this until my brush feels like it's about out of paint. All right, we'll do the same thing on the other one. Clean brush, load it up with paint. I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to start painting here like this until it starts to run out. Now look what happens. Maybe I didn't use hardly as much, but I think I did actually. But can you see the grain? You really can't. Let me hold this up and see if you can see it here. Look at the grain of the paper starting to come through. Can you see that? That's pretty awesome. And here you're getting this amazing bleed that's just happening where you're getting light on dark. This is sometimes what those of you who use markers, Prismacolors or Tombows or whatever, you might see this sort of shading with those markers. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of lamp black, and I'm just going to do 2 strokes. 1, 2. I'll grab a little lamp black. I'm going to do 2 strokes. 1, 2. Okay. I'm going to grab a little bit of gray, and I'm going to go punch here. And a little gray and go bump, bump, bump. There we go. Okay. And maybe a little bit of, what do we got? What do we got in here? This is a little bit of sienna brown and Quenchco gold. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I need to add a touch more there. 2, 3. All right. I didn't bring this yellow down just as far on this roux. I can bring that back down a little bit, add a little more here, like so. All right. A little turquoise in there. I always put a little turquoise down on the bottom end, somewhere in there, like that. So I love the way the colors pop on this one, but I got to tell you, this paper also has an intensity to it, and it's really smooth. So I go back and forth sometimes. I do probably 85% of my paintings on cold press just because I like it and I'm used to it. But every now and then, if I get a piece of hot press, it doesn't stop me from painting, okay? So do a little, all right. Now I just need a little brown here, just some ugly East Tennessee brown. Whoops, wrong color. I didn't mean to put that in there. That is just some sienna that's really ugly. All right, I don't think you can, yeah, you can see my pad over there. All right, I'm gonna mix up a little leg color in here, just a touch of red in that yellow. Create my own orange. I have orange sitting right here, but it's pumpkin orange. It's Halloween orange, I think they call it. And I like mine to be toned down with a little bit of gray. I'm going to come in, touch this spot, and touch this spot. And then I'm going to come in and do my legs in that color right there. You notice I'm not being careful, and you're going like, well, when's he going to start? I'm never careful. I just like the looseness of just letting the brush sort of run around and go. I'll take a little bit of green and just sweep here and sweep here. A little bit of, let's see what we got here. Just a little touch on the brush handle, just a little paint, a touch of brown. Okay, so, and then a touch of brown right in here. I'm going to do some beauty marks with a little red. Beauty marks. I'm going to use my new Hake brush. Doot, 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 doot. All right, now I'm just going to throw some cold water on there, just clean water. I'm going to do a splash. Splash, 2, 3. Splash, 2, 3, and just let that go. Then I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go in and get a little gray, and I'm going to splash a little gray, and splash a little gray. All right? And then I'm going to splash a little bit of blue on the outside, just like this. Just a little bit of ultramarine blue around. And this spot up here I put in earlier just because I spilled it, so I wanted them to look sort of consistent. And so there's the two roos. And some of you are going to say, ooh, I like this one over here, maybe better. And sometimes I do. It just depends on the style. As they get completely dry, they're going to look a little bit differently, and I'm going to prove that to you by spending 1 minute just drying them here. I'm going to bring this tool back out, the Works. I have to send this to Works. Hey, Works, I don't think you have anyone watercoloring with this tool. So here you go. Okay. Just dry these a little bit here. Sorry for the noise, but it is what it is. It's actually not very loud, and it gets pretty doggone hot. It reaches about, I think it's close to 500 degrees. It will melt the rubber insulation really fast. It's great for stuff like this. If you're on a camping trip, I guess you can use it as a hairdryer. It's great for drying glues and watercolor. You don't think about drying your watercolor paint with hot air, but you can if you're in a hurry. If you're out doing, not plein air, but painting outside, right? All right. So 20 more seconds, and then I will let you off the hook of this noise. But I want you to see these sort of dry. Thought this would be a good demonstration for you today, just to give you a little idea of what this looks like hot and cold press. Didn't think about this until late last night when I was looking at my new hot press paper, and I went, you know, I get a lot of emails about hot slick paper, cold press paper. Okay, so it's not completely dry, but I'm going to stop and show you what these look like. Okay, so there you go. Now what I do is I'd come in with probably my 07 Pentel brush and do a little detail. So let's do these one at a time. Okay, there's my hot press laying over there. Here's my cold. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna put in a little bit of detail in the leg, just a little bit here, maybe a sweep of this, little touch in his nose, and maybe just some pin marks here. And I like this brush to have some pin marks, and I just like to put in a little grass like that. So there's that one done. And here's this one. I'm going to go in and put a little bit of, and even this pen slides across this paper, okay? This sometimes bothers me. If I'm trying to write on this paper, I have to really hold careful because I write so poorly anyway. All right, so now what you get is this. You get, let me see if I can explain it to you. Cold press absorbs the colors and blends really, really well when it's dry paper. Okay, there it is. Nothing wrong with that rooster at all. He's very loose. He's on a mission. He looks a little sleepy. He's like me. He hadn't had enough coffee or tea. This one, take a look at what happens here. You see these, this mushrooming, this water, this paint in a paint, it leaves a hard edge. Cold pressed paper leaves sort of a hard edge. Look at this edge right here. But sometimes in my paintings, I love that contrast. I love it because it's different. It doesn't look like feathers. This looks more like feathers. This looks more like this artist was having a great time and he just said, let's just throw some paint in there. And that's what I do. Okay. What would I do to these paintings to really spice them up a little bit? I'd come in with a little of my lead color and I'd boost it just a touch. I might even touch the orange. In fact, I might even go get this pumpkin orange and just do an orange stroke in both of them right in here like this. And I might come in, but I'd also come in with and this is a big brush, but I might come in with a little of this darker color and just shadow the bottoms of his feet just a touch like that. And I might come in with a little bit of Payne's gray and just dirty this base of this up just a little bit like that. Okay, and that would look good too if I did that with some of this ugly brown and just slid it in there like that and made it kind of come together with the black. So I just created 3 colors there that gave me a good earth look. All right, so you wind up doing a really loose, easy, fun painting if you're painting something like this. I paint roosters, people, but that just means that the style that I use on the roosters, you can use on any watercolor you want. If you're painting animals, this is a good paper to have. If you're painting really loose, sort of sketchy, quick, whimsical things, that's why sometimes I use hot paper. A lot of the book that I did was on pieces of hot paper because I really wanted this look. I wanted this look because I knew I was going to be printing on paper that wasn't watercolor paper. You can't do books in watercolor paper, but I had to send them originals. So I wanted hot press paper for that. So my new book, not Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, Pat and I are working on, that I'm really working on right now. But one of my new books coming out someday, Odes from the Oceans and Poems from the Ponds and Rhymes from the Rivers. Most of all those paintings have been done on hot press, and they're a little lighter touch, and there's a little bit more of this look into how colors run together. I hope that was helpful. Hey, I don't do a lot of that sort of thing, but I hope that was kind of fun. Pat says, I like the cold press for blending, lifting, and hand lettering. Yes, and the nib of my markers lasts longer with cold press. There you go. That's interesting. The hot press would work well on floral, Sharon says. And you know what? It's probably my daughter's favorite paper for her floral and fauna and all the things of the field that she does. It's probably her favorite paper. Just really awesome. And when she's got a piece this big, you can come in and blow some colors. If I were painting this iris the other day in Charles Reed style on this paper, man, the edges of that iris would be variegated almost automatically by just letting paint run into paint. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you, Chris. I hope that was helpful to you. Team cold press, Michelle says. Yes, Michelle. You know what? And me too. I am a team cold press guy. There's just no doubt about it. I love it. But there's a time where you want to change your style a little bit. And keep looking and you'll see it. And I'll show you these one more time. I'm going to let them just air dry here. And I'll reach down and get them maybe one more time before the show's over. All right. So you know I use this Kilimanjaro paint. Let's see, any questions here? I like hot. I like Payne's gray. Me too. Payne's gray is so cool. I like them both. Depends on my mood. Well, yes, of course it does. Sheila says, I'm still learning to get bright colors on my paper on cold press. Use less water, Sheila, and more pigment, and watch the colors start to pop. Also, check the paint you have. Maybe you have a more of a translucent palette. So that's the reason. Look, when I started painting roosters, I knew I wanted colors that popped. I wanted them to go, whoa, turn it down. I wanted them to be in Madras shirts. And so that's why I chose the palette that I chose. All right. Yes. Julie, you might find that you will like the markers on hot press. That might be fun. Uh, I thought I didn't like hot press, but it's not so bad, Chris Young says. Well, of course it's not. And here's the thing. I've painted on paper bags, people, and I've sold paintings on paper bags. Sometimes that's a fun thing. My favorite paper is the paper I have in front of me at the time. But when I'm in an Italian restaurant, or a French restaurant that has paper on the tables, especially Italian restaurants where they roll out a piece of that big butcher paper, I love that paper, and it's very much like hot press. Okay? All right, here we go. Next thing I wanted to do is show you. This is the Kilimanjaro book I paint out of on the painting shows all the time. It's 140 pound. This is the same paper. It's just in a little bit more of a travel journal that fits in my briefcase a little bit. And so what I thought I'd do this morning is talk about when you're with the grandkids. So I want to show you the new brush, which I did. Fanfare of the Common Man, didn't know that song was going to play, and drop a piano every now and then. Well, I told you about Headshot. I don't think I'm going to show you that. Anyway, I was in my 20s when we shot that. I haven't had one since. Haven't needed one. Don't need to work in any movies. Okay, so I'm going to grab this pen right here. This is my Pilot Kakuno. K-A-K-U, 2 dots over the U, N-O. It's made by Pilot. It's a fine nib. And I paint flies sometimes, right? Like fishing flies and also flies fishing. There's a difference. And these are doodle paintings for me that just help me be loose and help me have fun. And so what I thought I'd do is that, and there's all sorts of little papers laying around on my desk that are bugs. Excuse me. If I'm on the phone, I'm so sorry. I think I just swallowed a bug. You know, it's kind of sad when you crack yourself up when I do feel like Red Skelton sometimes. The older I get, it's like, and may God bless. I have fun doing bugs. So I thought I'd paint a couple bugs for you and just show you. Maybe you haven't done bugs, but you can do bugs with just a paintbrush, or you can do them with a pen. So why would you paint bugs? Because painting little details that you see in nature, sometimes on the great flower arrangement, you just put a little ladybug. Sometimes on a little scene on the top of a fence post, you put a June bug. Sometimes you put a grasshopper. And I paint. So I started by thinking I wanted to paint grasshoppers. It all started in 1991. Nope, 1990. When I wrote a poem about a bug doing ballet. And I wrote it for a children's book. And I never published it. And I have it right over there. And I talked to an illustrator. I didn't paint at all then, didn't even sketch. And I loved it. It was a story that I thought, I want the whole world to know about this bug, because I'm just going to tell you the line. It's all copywritten, so it's fun to me to share. But bugs have always been drawn to the light, right? So I'm thinking the stage. So as a storyteller, you love walking up on the stage. It's just what you do. So a bug has always been drawn to the light. So I wrote this story about this bug. And I stopped by one day, not being a bugologist, which I didn't want to call them by their real scientific name. I wanted to say I was a bugologist. So I found this bug, and he was doing ballet. He was on point. And so he did all his moves, and so he had 6 legs up on the bar. And anyway, the whole story goes on and on and on. And there's spiders and aphids and grasshoppers. And so I thought, I want somebody. So I went to an illustrator, and it was thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So I decided that I would just wait until I could draw and illustrate my own book. And now I still haven't done that book. But I still love drawing bugs. So when I got into drawing roosters, I knew I wanted roosters and grasshoppers together in the same. And in my children's book, I wanted a grasshopper to be one of the spokespersons in the book. So I'm going to start with the grasshopper, and here it is. So sometimes when the grandkids are over, I won't tell them, hey, would you like to go draw bugs? And they go, no. I go, okay. So I'll just start doodling. Maybe they're on a piece of paper and they're sitting there, and they'll say, hey, Roo, could we get some markers and something? And I'll go, yeah, but wait a minute. I'm working on something here. And so I'll start with a little head like this, and then a little shoulder, come down, and then I'll pick up an arm, and I'll come down with a like this and go out. and I'll let this tail back, go in here like this, and then I'll just do some squiggles down in here because I don't know what the underside of a grasshopper looks like. I know they're a little ribby. I've looked at them and I've baited hooks with them, but I'll start putting some down like this. So there's 3 legs. There's another leg underneath, and then there's an eye here, and then there's of course a couple. There's another leg that goes down this way. Then these legs have this. Then this one is coming down over here in the back, and then it's out there too. So there's a little grasshopper. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in on this just a little bit here for you, so you can see some of these bugs that I'm doing. There we go. All right. So now what I would do to make that bug come to life is maybe let's just get a brush here, and I'll use a brush that this is a number 6. Ooh, that's plenty big. That brush is upside down. That's going to hurt my feelings. All right, here's a 3 and a 6. It's hard for me not to reach for my bamboo brush, and I might. There it is. But so far, I think I have just about everything that I need. So if I reached in here and just got a little bit of water, this is on cold press, 140 pound. Now I can just start pushing this together like this. Get a little more water and just kind of come in here and build his legs. And then before I fill all this in, I want to reach in here and get some green that I really like. I'm just going to touch some of this green here, like so. But I want some, so see, I didn't really finish and complete it. I'm going to go get the yellow and just paint right over the top of this. So I'm not looking over here at my palette for colors that look like a grasshopper. I'm just mixing it on the piece of paper as I go and thinking, that's going to be plenty good. And I'm letting my 2 paint colors bleed in with the pen that I put in there. Now, those of you who are firstly watching the show and who've been watching 202 days, that's today, you know why I reach for fountain pens sometimes. They just bleed really nicely, okay? All right. Okay, I'm painting with a big brush, so that's why there's a little override. But there's a grasshopper. Nothing wrong with that grasshopper. As a matter of fact, I could probably take a dryer brush and pick up some of this and just do this as shadow underneath the brush, the grasshopper, and you wouldn't worry a bit that that's looked like I messed up the legs, which I did. Okay, and I just told you that I did. Okay, so I could get a little more of this orange yellow and just put it right up there on his head. This is the leg color I did for the rooster. Look at that. That's pretty cool. All right, big old field grasshopper. All right, on the same page, what's this? So sometimes for the grandkids, I just do bugs. And you do bugs if you're painting landscape and you just want to change direction for a minute, let your paint dry, work on something else. Unless you just want to stand there and watch the ducks. If you're Miss Carla, you want to paint ducks. Okay. All right, so look at this. I got to clean off my little tip because sometimes on cold press, this fountain pen will dig in. So let's just do a bug that, let's see, I had one out here that I was going to show you. If you do a bug like this, all right, this has still got a little bit of a piece of paper on the end of it, so I'll have to clean it. All right, and then we'll come down here, kind of come in like this, come down with a straight line, maybe another straight line down here, and come in like this. And then, you know, bugs' legs their legs are jointed a little different than ours. Yeah, it's a good thing, too. And then I want to just fill this in with some of my pen, and I'm going to show you how fun this is going to be. Look at that bug right there, okay? So I'm just going to grab my brush, and I'm going to go in here and just color with my brush, watercolor. And I'm going to just sweep some of this down like so. This brush has a little bit of that hopper green in it still left in there. And then I'm going to get this number 3 brush here. Is this number 6? I had the number 3. Let me get this little brush and go in and I'm going to reach over here now on my palette. I'm just going to get a little bit of Payne's gray because I want those legs to just darken up just a smidge right there, okay? I don't know what we're listening to, but I'll be working on some music for tomorrow morning show. Okay, now if I wanted to, a little bit of a sheen of a little green in here, take a look at that. Oh, is that cool? All right, if that's too much, then I'll erase it. Just grab a little bit of a damp paper towel and just touch it like that. Bingo, I'm on. Maybe put a little turquoise in there. Maybe it needs to shine with a little Terry Tardy turquoise. There it is right there. All right. Maybe this needs to be a little closer. Okay. So there's concept of a bug. You could do another bug. This bug turned sideways would look kind of like this, I think. He would look like this. And then he would have his back over like this. Maybe his legs out like so. And so I could come in, I could do this whole bug in little bitty pieces with my pen. This is why I love these pens. And then just grab a little bit of clean water and just start to wash. And look at this. My grandkids need to learn how to draw bugs. And I'm the person that needs to teach them. And if you got grandkids or you got kids, teach your kids to draw bugs. All right? Could you do, let's see, I had one more that I was going to show you just for fun. I don't know what I did. Oh, I know what it was. It was a wasp. It was a bee. And I saw a wasp that I thought was pretty cool. He was sort of like this. He had this head here, kind of a mean looking head. You know, wasps are just, and then the wing went up this way. And then the other wing went up here like this. And then his body went down with just like you would draw a bee almost. And then his legs hanging out like this. And he's got just a couple feelers coming out. So I'm not going to finish too much more of him, except I'm going to get a brush in here. And I'm going to go in with some Payne's Gray. And I'm just going to touch it like this. Maybe make a sweep across here. A sweep across here like so. And maybe just let the ink fill in his head. Then I'm going to reach down and get some of that gamboge and just drop it in like this. And I've suddenly just painted a wasp. Okay, so you can work on these all you want. I just think you're going to find tons of them. I hadn't even done a ladybug, but man, are they fun to do when you just do a ladybug. They're like doing a little Volkswagen. You just do a little deal like this with a little round bump right here with all these little feet. And then you got, you know, and then you do your, okay. So some of you are better bug drawers than I am, but I just want to remind you constantly that don't forget that you can connect all these to your paintings and you connect the story. How fun is it in the book? I had no idea that I would get notes from you and from children and from people who said, you know what we love about the book? And I'll go, no. They go, the grasshopper. And I go, really? And they go, well, yeah, he's got all the great lines. You know, he goes, hey, easy on the bugs. And it's just a wheelbarrow, you know, or watch your foot breaks. And so he says things that he's like, let's clean this up. So that's the concept. So I wanted you to see, you don't even have to draw the bug first. So I wanted you to see that too. Remember how we were painting people the other day? I can come in here and just take my brush and I can just do the same bug without even sketching it. I can go get a little bit of green blue or a little bit of turquoise and just drop it right in there and then just let it dry in on the paper and you get a cool feel for what comes out next on that. So there gives you have a little bit of deal out on the legs. This one goes this way. All right. So I just want you to see that. Don't leave the bugs out when you're doing fun things and you go, I don't know what to sketch. Get yourself a little journal and go outside. Are ladybugs red with black spots? Or are they black with red spots? You'll have to figure that one out on your own. All right. And this is where that little dryer would come in handy again. All right. And I think this ladybug is, she's on the telephone. So I'm going to paint an iPhone right here. All right. I'm crazy. All right, so there you go. A little thing on bugs today. Let me show you these paintings one more time. I just had that on my mind. I wanted to say, don't, you know, of course you're supposed to consider the birds, but thanks, Ash, for your video of your bird feeders. But consider these. And then sometimes I'll take a normal fly and I'll turn it into a fun painting. And friends of mine have this painting in their, with their fly gear, okay? Post one on Roo's Crew. Okay, Karen, I will somebody needs to post one. Yeah, post some of yours on Roo's Crew. That'd be great. We have a limited supply here in our Ontario. Wasp are mean. Okay, then paint him with a mean face. Ladybugs can be yellow and orange as well as red. You know, you're absolutely right. And who would know that better than our friend Pat Brooks, who has ladybugs on lots of envelopes that I've received. All right. Kathy says her paintings arrived yesterday. I'm glad you got them. It's a Roo Hopper. All right. I love the praying mantis. Yes. They are, I've actually done one somewhere. I don't know where he is. I painted one a few years ago. Stink bugs, I don't paint. I don't like them. They fly around this time of year. Okay. How about a screenshot from Bull Durham or the Boneyard, Bob says. No, thanks. I'm not doing a screenshot from either one of those two. I might find one from the Boneyard where I'm dressed up as a big poodle. That was a movie that I was in, and I was in another movie. I drove a car, police car. Oh Lordy, yeah, my life is crazy. All right, here's the painting right here I want you to see today. So look at this. Here's what's cool about this little journal from Kilimanjaro. It's what size is this? Does the man have a tape on his desk? All right, I've fired my crew already this morning. That's me. It is 5.5 by roughly 8. So 5.5 by 8, probably 8.5 total book size. This is a great little journal. So now I'll just leave these in here and I'll just throw it in my briefcase. And I just bought this a while back. So I've only just, I said life is short, create art on there. There's that Roo, see? That's my go-to Roo, okay? So now I got some bugs in there, and I might label these with crazy names. I might not just call them what they are. So I might create some detail with them, and I might create a story with them and link them together. I don't know, and I might not. And I might just leave them alone until I've got to add a honeybee in here. There's no doubt I have to do that. And by the way, don't rule out, as we finish the show, don't rule out India ink either, okay? Remember this little ink block? Don't rule out just doing bugs with ink. Got a little ink on this ink block, but you can come in right here with a little bit of ink, and man, can you do a bug with some ink? I mean, this is just fantastic. Look at this. Ink just goes and goes and goes with a little paintbrush. It rolls. It's like painting on hot paper, but it starts to dry out really well. Love this. Okay. All right, so there's that bug right there. I can add a little dark to this. That's a cool little bug. Okay. He says, not prideful at all. All right, so there it is. Here's the two paintings, and then I'm out of here for a Monday. Thank you for watching the show. Hey, if you're interested in a Roo book, let me show you what it looks like. Here it is right here. Boom. That's me. The book is called Hey Roo, What's a Wheelbarrow? And it's a field trip for your grandkids. The Roo loads them all up in a wheelbarrow, and he pushes them around the farm, and they keep saying, hey, Roo, what's a wheelbarrow? And he goes, hey, that's a good question. Why, it's and you think of creative things to do with wheelbarrows. It's all these different things that it can be. So it's been a fun book. You can find that at roodoodles.com. You can find my mugs at roodoodles.com. And I think I posted this. I had to go out the other day and I had to carry my paint in my Klein bag because I have gotten rid of all of my bug out bags. So I'm reprinting, and it'll be a while. I will not put those up for pre-sale until I know the day they're arriving, so the wait is not horrendous. So I'll let you know when they're about ready to ship, and it'll be a while. It takes a long time to get stuff done these days. Okay, all right. So here we go. There's a shot of picture in picture, and here's the one on cold press. Boom. Good Roo. I like him. And here's the one on hot press. Look at the little differences right here. See how this paint has sort of mushroomed out and ballooned into itself? Sometimes I love this look, and the only way to really get that look is not brush it, but just let water run it together and let it dry that way on hot press paper. You see that? All right. There we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, 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 okay. Blessings to you. Oh, Audrey, your brother's a butcher? Well, yeah, have him send you over some white butcher paper. Come on, paint us something. Don't cover your door in that, though. Paint it blue. See you tomorrow morning at 8:57, folks. Hey, I appreciate you following this show. Blessings to you. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles.